Draymond Green says he nearly went after fan who threatened his life. Draymond Green has revealed the fan he had kicked out of Tuesday's Warriors-Bucks game made threats against his life. Green also said he nearly went after the offender. "I was this close to really going back," Green said of the fan who he claimed said some threatening stuff to my life. But he thought better of it, which was just as well considering it would have looked especially bad just a month and a half after he punched teammate Jordan Poole. Thankfully, Green sought the help of the refs instead, and the fan was promptly removed from the arena. "When I told the official what he said, he was like, 'Oh, he's got to get out of here,'" Green said. "There are no real consequences," he added. "Yeah, you can't come back to the game, or even if you get arrested, nothing really happens. You just hope it gets to a point where these leagues can work with legislators to implement laws because that's the only thing that's really going to correct the issue." DeMarcus Cousins doesn't think Chris Paul is a top 5 point guard of all time. Free agent DeMarcus Cousins recently appeared on Out of Pocket podcast and he sure had a lot to say. One of the biggest takeaways from it was that he thinks Russell Westbrook is a better player than Chris Paul. Contrary to popular opinion, Paul doesn't even belong in the top 5 point guards of all time debate, according to the big man. "Every time I hear a top 5 PG list, Chris Paul is in it and I'm not really understanding why," Cousins said. "No knock to CP, but strictly from an accolade and performance standpoint, I don't think Chris Paul is top 5. Cousins went on to say who would be in his top 5 instead. "We gotta bring up Steve Nash," he continued. "We gotta bring up John Stockton. Then we gotta bring in Westbrook, I mean he's a MVP." When comparing the two, Paul has won Rookie of the Year award, an All-Star Game Most Valuable Player award, 2 Olympic gold medals, led the NBA in assists per game 5 times and steals per game 6 times and is a 12-time All-Star. While Westbrook is a 9-time All-Star and earned MVP in 2016-17. He also led the league in scoring in 2014-15 and 2016-17. Could the reason Cousins is throwing a bit of shade on CP3 be because of their playing history? There were plenty of times on the court when Paul was partial to a massive flop against Cousins. Who could forget this classic from the 2021 playoffs? Cousins' shade towards Paul may be due to the fact that DeMarcus is out of the league and wants to make sure he isn't an afterthought. It's already a questionable take, but if Paul was to win a ring, Cousins and other CP3 haters wouldn't have much else to say. Cash TW Chris. Podcast, betting tips for Wed 14th deck. Cash TW. Chris is a quick-hitting NBA morning betting show where Chris shares his top looks based on research and analysis with an occasional guest. This show is for both new and experienced NBA bettors looking for an edge in various markets. NBA totals, spreads, money lines and occasional parlays will be discussed. Perhaps this week marks the real return of Zion Williamson as a leader in the basketball card market. We are on board, and Gary is here with some ideas and opportunities to seize this moment. In 6-8 weeks, the rest of the sports card world will turn to basketball and focus on rising stars and the playoff races. We believe that this market correction will hurt for a few more weeks, but it also presents some ongoing buying opportunities for young contenders like Zion. We also react to the breaking news on what Detroit players might surge, or not.